Sir, what is going on here? What? She just asked you, now you in front of her friends and you like, yeah, I cheated. What? What's up, y'all? It's your girl Roxiie with Roxiie Says, and we're gonna talk about it. Today we are reviewing Married at First Sight, season 18, episodes 1 to 4. I know this video is late AF, okay? Please do not beat me up about it. Tammy Talks, Queen E, and Chloe Johnson have beat me up enough. But I'm so excited because this season is off the chain already. I tried to watch last season. I think it was Denver. Couldn't make it through the first episode. I tried, but oh baby, I can tell that this season is going to be a hot mess. And on top of that, they said there's going to be a huge scandal this season, and y'all know I love a little bit of mess, so let's get right into it. But before we do, please do not forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that you hit that notification bell so that you're made aware every time I post a new video, okay? So for anyone else who's like me and who's never really seen this show before, it's like Love is Blind, but in reverse, okay? So on this show, the couples get married first, before meeting, before having any conversation. The first time they speak is at the wedding, and then they decide if they want to stay together or get divorced after a couple of months, okay? What could possibly go wrong? Another big difference in this show is that these couples are actually matched by experts. Now, from what I've heard, these experts, they don't really be doing their homework, but I guess we're gonna see. But at least these couples do have some type of guidance and counseling along the way. So this review is perfect for those of y'all who have been watching the show, but it's even more perfect for those of you who have not been watching the show, because in this review, I'm gonna catch everyone up to speed for episodes 1 to 4. Let's get into it. So we have 5 couples, okay? First off, we have Michelle and David. Michelle is 38 and she's been single for 6 years, and she says that she's an independent boss babe who is looking for her partner. She says that she wants a light-skinned black man, okay, with a beard and with tattoos, who is a ride or die. According to her friends, Michelle is very judgy, but she promises that this time she's going to trust the experts in this process, and she just knows that they will deliver. Next, we have David. He's 35 years old. He says that he is strong and confident, and he is a proud mama's boy who respects women, and he loves his family. He also says that although he's Puerto Rican and he loves the women in his family, he prefers white women, but just not any white woman. She must have blonde hair and blue eyes. These two are a match made in heaven, and we're going to talk more about them later, all right? So next we have Echi. He's 41, and he says that the dating scene has been horrendous, but he still has some hope, all right? He says that he's creative, he's a painter, he does music, and now he is a college counselor at a high school. And Echi says that he is ready to be that husband who caters to his wife. He wants to cook for her. He wants to make sure her gas tank is on full, period, all right? So next we meet his fiance, MM. She is 35 years old. She wants a partner, a soulmate, and she wants to start a family. She is a first-generation Nigerian American, and her career is flourishing. So now she wants to focus on love, and she says that she is done just dating for fun. The next couple up is Madison and Alan, all right? He is a 35-year-old financial assistance manager. He says that his friends will consider him to be a nut job. That's not good, baby. That's not good, all right? But he says that he is very serious when it comes to work time. But baby, once it's playtime, Alan said he gonna play. He says that he does well financially, and he is very frugal day to day due to seeing his mom struggle throughout his childhood. But he says every now and then he will spend a couple $1,000 on some designer shoes and on a vacation, all right? Ain't nothing wrong with that. And he says that he wants to create the 2-parent household that he never had. So his fiance, Madison, she is 29 years old. She describes herself as an extroverted extrovert, and she says that she does very well for herself financially. She says that she likes to spend her money on nice things. Her mom was absent for the majority of her adolescence after her parents divorced, so she is very close to her dad. So we see that both Madison and Alan do have some childhood wounds, okay? The next couple up, we have Juan and Carla. Carla is 34 years old. She describes herself as a free spirit who's always manifesting, and she says that she just loves love and craves intimacy. She feels like in her past, she has stayed in relationships just to be in them, okay? She knew that it was time to go, but she just stayed just to stay, yeah, all right? She says that her table is already full, and she just needs someone to come and add to it. So don't ask Carla what she brings to the table. She like, boo, I got the table. What you got? What you got? Carla's fiance, Juan, he's 36 years old, and this man, he got a lot of energy, all right? He got a lot of energy. He's fun. He loves to dance, and he says that he does well for himself, and now he wants someone to share that with. Juan was born in Colombia, and Carla is Mexican, and they both want someone who understands and embraces their culture. So next up, we have Camille, and she describes herself as a hopeless romantic due to all those Disney movies that she grew up on, child. Those Disney movies did a number on us, okay? But she says that after her parents' divorce at 13, she feels like she took on the emotional caretaker role to both of them. And she says that she's seen how that has trickled into her relationships and backfired on her. She says that she is tired of men making her feel like she's disposable. And she says that she is ready for something real. Now, her soon-to-be husband, his name is Thomas, okay? He is 42 years old, and he is a self-proclaimed overthinker and perfectionist, and he likes everything to be done in a very particular way, all right? He says that he feels like this process, listen to this, is better because he says that it doesn't give him an opportunity to think, and he just gets to be thrusted into marriage. I already had my eye on Thomas in episode 1. Oh, but baby, we gonna get into him later too, okay? And on top of that, Thomas is a twin, and he says that he feels odd being the unmarried twin. Now, these reasons are not giving. Listen, if you were out with your significant other and someone asked them what made them want to get married, right? And their response was they were tired of being the unmarried twin or the only unmarried person in the group. Wouldn't that make you look like, well, damn, that's the only reason? You didn't want to be a husband. You didn't want a companion. You didn't want someone you can bond and grow with. You were just tired of being the only we gonna get, like I said, we gonna get to Thomas later. Let me calm down. Let me calm down. So after we meet all the individuals, we see all of the grooms and brides. I guess this was like their bachelor parties, okay? The women are super confident because they know that the experts have vetted the men and they trust that they will find someone who fits their requirements. And the ladies make it clear that they are ready and willing to do whatever it takes to please their husbands. But at the bachelor party, when the men discuss what they want in a woman, they're also confident that these experts understood the assignment and will provide the perfect wife that they've been looking for, okay? So child, it's already time for a wedding. First up, we have Camille and Thomas. And this is so weird to me because this is the first episode, right? I'm a Love is Blind girl, so we're used to seeing the pods, the dating, and then the wedding. This is completely different, all right? Thomas has a moment of vulnerability with his boys and his twin, which is nice to see, but he does say that he has some concerns if he doesn't meet Camille's expectations and if she doesn't accept his flaws. And I'm like, well, Mr. Perfectionist, okay, you better be willing to accept her flaws as well if she has any. It's a two-way street, okay? He also feels like he's letting his late father down by not being married by now. Again, I am not feeling Thomas's reasonings for wanting to be married. First, it was he doesn't want to be the only unmarried twin, and all his friends are married, and now he wants to make his late father proud. Nothing wrong with wanting to make one of your late parents proud, but still, I have not heard him say how he wants to be a husband, right? I have not heard him say how he wants to be someone's companion. It's all of these outside reasons, right? Nothing really to do with his future wife. But anyways, he does share a beautiful moment. Thomas and his brother were adopted. So we see his adoptive mother come, and we also see his biological mom come. Even though he's only known his biological mom for about 7 years, he feels very blessed to have everyone there to see him on his special day. And the mom's hug, it was a really nice moment. We don't get much information on that dynamic as a whole, but it was nice to see that everyone was able to come together. So now it's time, okay? And they're not meeting each other just to get engaged. They're meeting each other to have their very first conversation and get married. Crazy. Crazy. How y'all be doing these shows? Y'all are crazy, okay? But the nerves are really getting to Camille because she starts having doubts to the point where she runs away and she has to sit down and she has to ask her friends for water. And she's like, will y'all be mad at me if I don't go through with this? Camille, grow up. You didn't know what the show was when you signed on the dotted line. You didn't see. This is season 18. This is my first time actually watching the show and I know what it's about. So how you don't know what it's about? Don't get scared now, okay? You knew what you was getting into. Come on, mamas, let's go. But eventually she pulls it together. Her father gives her some words of encouragement and he walks her down the aisle. They both look very pleased when they see each other. So that is a good sign, okay? It wasn't cringe at all. They read each other their vows. And I was biting my nails because I'm like, are they gonna kiss? Do they kiss? Because when you think about it, this is like walking up to a stranger on the street and just tonguing them down because they don't know these people. And I wouldn't have blamed them if they didn't, okay? But anyways, they do, and they jump the broom and it's a done deal. We got a married couple in the first episode. Next, we have Alan and Madison, and both of them are super excited to get married. We also see that Alan and Madison sent each other gifts and letters before the wedding. Alan gave Madison a cute little banana and a Tiffany's box. I said, all right, Alan, he coming on strong. Love to see it. So as they're both reading the letters that they sent to each other before the wedding, we see that they're both shaking. They're very nervous. They're very excited. And I was like, I'm hoping that energy remains after the wedding. Child, we gonna get to that. All right. All right, y'all. So that was episode 1. Now we're on episode 2, and we pick up right where we left off. We see that Madison is super nervous, and she's hoping that she finds Alan attractive immediately. Okay? But when they walk down the aisle, Alan says that he immediately loves what he sees. He compliments her, and Madison asks for a hug. They share a laugh about the gift, and I thought that that was really cute. They looked like they were a great match so far, all right? The officiant tells Alan that Madison's family wants him to know that she is extraordinary, she is super smart, and she is a wild one who will always go hard for him. Alan's family wants Madison to know that he has a vibrant personality and he loves adventure. So they read their vows, and they both get really emotional, and at this point I was like, is this too early? Is it too early to love a couple? I be liking couples a bit too soon. And baby, after I finished episode 4, it did confirm it was a bit too soon. It was a bit too soon, okay? But we see them kiss. It was really cute. They both look extremely happy. And at this point in this scene, I definitely felt and sensed the chemistry between them. And then after the wedding, they have a conversation. We see that they both have similar jobs where they both implement new software at their companies. So they relate on that aspect. They both seem to share the same sense of humor. And I was all smiles when I watched this entire wedding. At this point, I was loving this couple, okay? So now it's time for Carla and Juan's wedding. Carla is very confident. She says that she isn't nervous at all because she just knows that the universe lined this all up. And all she wants to do is float down the aisle to her husband. We see Juan and his family, and he is so excited, and he gets really emotional because he says that being an immigrant left so much to the unknown. And he says that that's how he feels about this situation as well, but he is still very optimistic. So while getting all ready for the wedding, we see Carla get a beautiful and heartfelt letter from her mother, who is not there, okay? And the reason why her mom isn't there is because her dad said that he didn't want to be seen on camera. So the mom stayed home to support her husband. I understand a couple being a team. I understand that. But I just feel like this is such a huge moment in your child's life to miss. I really do. And in all honesty, could they not have just requested to not be shown on camera? I'm sure that they could have arranged that, right? So that they didn't have to be on camera, but still be there to support their daughter. It doesn't make sense to me. I just can't imagine it. Both of my parents would be at every single event, no matter how big or small. Mommy, daddy, I need y'all to come to this event. Bet you they're gonna be there. I don't play that. No, my parents are super supportive. I love them to the moon and back. But anyway, we see Juan. Don't Juan look like a Disney prince? The cheekbones, the jawline, the eyelashes. He just looked like a Disney prince that's about to gallop on a horse and save you from your evil stepmother. Anyway, so it's time for the wedding, and we see Carla walk down the aisle. They both look very pleased with each other, thankfully, all right? They share a couple of laughs, and Carla asks him if he's in love, and he's like, and I'm like, girl, slow down. He don't even know you yet. If he said yes, I would look at him sideways because you don't even know me. So how you gonna be in love with me already? So anyways, Carla's family wants Juan to know that Carla is spunky and she connects with people on a deeper spiritual level, and she does not like being told no. Remember that. It's going to come up later, okay? Juan's family wants her to know that he is loyal, he's ambitious, and he believes in multiple streams of income, baby, and multiple streams of joy. Money is going to be a big thing for these two, okay? A big thing. Anyways, they both say I do, and when they get permission to kiss, Juan asks Carla if it's okay with her, which I thought was very cute, him asking permission, like, can I kiss you? Because again, these people are strangers. And Carla says, of course, and she pulls him in for that kiss, baby, okay? So when they have their talk after the wedding, we learned that Juan has 2 startups, right? A tech company and a construction company. And then he has a sales job on top of that. So he was not lying when he was talking about multiple streams of income, all right? We find out that Carla, she's a hairstylist, she's a Pilates instructor, and she's a sound healer, and Juan thinks that that's really cool. So that was Juan and Carla. Now it's time for MM and Echi's wedding, all right? She is super excited. She is super excited, as she should be, and throughout these episodes, she's been singing that Beyonce song, I'm happy to see my husband, whatever. The first time it was cute, the second time it was okay, but baby, she gonna keep singing it, and by the third time, I was like, girl, shut up, please. We see that Echi is also excited, but he's nervous. I mean, who wouldn't be with an experience like this? But he does say that he's hoping to have something like what his friends have because they're all married. We see MM's friends give her a special gift because her dad, who passed away, wasn't there. The gift was beautiful. It was a pendant with his face in it, really sentimental. And this gift clearly touched her, okay? And then her sister lets her know that she's spoken with her mom, who isn't there, not because she's not used to arranged marriages, but because she just doesn't support it being publicized. She doesn't like the idea of this being done on a TV show. Again, I understand everyone has their preferences, their customs. I just can't understand a parent not supporting their child, right? Especially in this situation when MM doesn't have her father. He's passed away and the mom still doesn't show up. Anyways, we learned that MM was engaged previously and her friends are so happy that she never made it down the aisle because they say that that marriage would have been a hot mess, all right? We also learned that this is Echi's second time applying for this show. This is his second time applying for this show because the experts weren't able to find him a match when he was in Houston, but they were able to find him a match here in Chicago. So here he is. He was very, very determined to get on this show. We're gonna look out for that one, right? Anyways, it's time for the wedding and we see Echi's mom come and she gives her blessing, which means a lot to him since he was raised solely by her, and you can tell that she is truly happy for him. We see that MM's cousin will be walking her down the aisle in place of her dad, and when MM and Echi see each other for the first time, they look very happy, but when MM makes it down the aisle, they shake hands. Now, that was weird to me. Still understandable because they're strangers, but it was still a little awkward. And even throughout the ceremony, MM was doing a lot. Now, I can understand being excited. Nothing wrong with being excited on your wedding day, but baby, keep it cute. You know, like, have some mystery about you. Be a little demure, you know. She was doing a lot, okay? And even when it was time to kiss, she was doing a lot, all right? So they're both here. It's time to kiss, 50%. Both of y'all should come in 50%. No, this is MM. She was like, I was like, well, damn, girl. Can he come in 50% too? She was doing a lot. She leaned in 85%, okay? So MM's family wants Echi to know that she is pure and she's an ambitious boss chick. And his family wants her to know that he is ambitious, he's creative, and he wears his heart on his sleeve. And they also say that he has been writing letters to his future wife for years, okay? And he's turned these letters into a book. Okay, now we see why he wanted to be on this show so bad, because he got a book I got you, Echi. I got you, but we gonna get into that a little bit more later, all right? Nonetheless, the wedding was beautiful, and we see them have their post-wedding chat. We learned that MM's name means peace in Igbo, all right? And she also let Echi know that her father has passed away recently. And interestingly enough, Echi's name is also Igbo, even though he's not Nigerian, but he says that his family just loved the name, and it means God's power. And even in this conversation, again, MM is doing too much. He's like, so what's good with you? What do you do? Are we going to stay in Chicago? Am I going to move with you to Houston? Let me know so I could go pack my bags right now. What we doing? Where we going? Girl, calm down a little bit, okay? You looking real thirsty. But Echi does tell MM about his job. He says that he is a college counselor at a high school, and he makes sure that all of his students get into college without having to pay, which is dope. Amazing. I'm sure that is such a fulfilling job. Shout out to him for that. That's truly dope, okay? MM is a nurse practitioner, and Echi loves that because he said that he specifically requested a Black woman whose occupation involves some type of service like his does. And she says that she asked for a Black man who dates Black women and who's a leader. So he loves that. Now with this race thing, okay, remember the couple from before, Michelle and, Lord have mercy, Michelle and David, okay? I think that it's one thing to request someone who's the same race as you, or if you have no preference, you date all races. I think that it's a completely different thing to request someone who's a different race than you. In David's situation, he don't want any white woman. She has to be a white woman with blonde hair and blue eyes. And with Michelle, she doesn't want a Black man. He has to be light skinned. That's where it gets weird for me. As opposed to Echi and MM, they just want someone who's Black. They just want someone who's Black. Now, if Echi said that he want a Black woman, but she got to be light skinned with a big booty, she got to be dark skinned with long hair, I'm going to look at him weird too. If MM said, I want a Black man, but he has to be dark skinned and he got to have 7 toes, I'm going to look at her weird. You get what I'm saying? I feel like it's one thing to be open to dating multiple races or cultures, ethnicities, whatever. But once the requests start getting kind of nitpicky, it's just weird to me. That's just how I feel about it. And I'm not here to argue about anyone's preference. Your preference is your preference. Good for you. Those requests just come off as weird. Sorry, not sorry. Moving on. But I will say, while watching this scene between the two of them, it wasn't giving chemistry, like husband-wife vibes, like, ooh, I like you vibes. It was more giving homie vibes. Like, oh, this is my friend. This is my homegirl. This is my homeboy. That's what it was giving. I didn't see any romance. It wasn't giving any of that. Sorry. So now it's time for David and Michelle's wedding, and it's also David's birthday. And he thinks that this is a good sign because his parents got married on his dad's birthday, and they've been married for 30, 60 years, okay? And then his brother got married on his birthday, and I think they were married for like 5 or 6 years so far. So he feels that this is good luck, okay? So we see them both tell their families how excited and nervous they are, especially David, because get this, he still lives at home with his parents. He lives in the basement, but he claims that he lives there by choice, and he says that he has 2 careers, but instead of paying rent, he said that he would rather stay home, save up his money, and purchase a house. All right, so my family is Caribbean, so please believe I have seen people live in their parents' house till they turn 75 years old. Okay, I have seen it. I'm very familiar with it. But I just feel like there's a bit of independence that one should come with to a show like this when you are looking for a husband or a wife. I don't think anyone should be living at home with their parents when doing an experience like this. All I know is that his savings better be hefty. You got 2 careers and you still live at home, you better have some money in your bank account. All right, y'all, so now we're on episode 3. Don't y'all love how I'm getting you through these episodes so quickly? Did you hit subscribe? Did you hit the like button? Did you? Okay, you did. Thank you. Thank you, boo. Thank you. All right, so now we are at David and Michelle's wedding. She's worried that she might be a bit too independent for David since she's been single for 6 years, and she is hoping that she is able to make room for him in her life. And I'm like, girl, you better have the room because he's still living in his parents' basement. So you might have to move him in, okay? So it's wedding time, and when they see each other, they are both very happy because they each meet each other's physical requirements. She's blonde with blue eyes, and he is something that's light skinned, okay? So Michelle's family wants David to know that even though she's a country girl at heart, she's always been destined to be a big city girl, and she's the perfect balance between tough and sensitive. And David's family wants Michelle to know that he is loyal, and he is a mama's boy who is a gentle giant with a big, loud family. All right, so they read each other their vows. They both say I do. They exchange the rings, and it's a done deal. All right, David cannot stop smiling. He tells Michelle that the first thing that he saw about her was her blonde hair and her blue eyes. Listen, Michelle, you better make sure that you keep a good relationship with your hairstylist, okay? Make sure that you don't miss any appointments for your touch-up, because if that hair starts to turn back brown, he gonna leave you. He gonna leave you. You can never change your hair color ever again, okay? And he also tells her that he loves that she's so independent because that is what he requested. So you requested an independent woman while you still live. Okay, moving on. Another thing that he tells her is that he smokes, and she is completely grossed out by this, and I would be too, okay? But he says that it is something that he's willing to gradually stop doing for her, right? You should do it for yourself, but okay. When he tells her that he lives at home with his parents, you can see her entire face change, okay? He says that he's lived alone for 3 years in the past, but he ended up selling his condo and moving back home. This girl looks genuinely worried, and it's only gonna get worse. It's only gonna get worse. So all of the couples are married, and now it is time for the receptions. We see Juan and Carla's family. They blend and bond immediately. Both sides are extremely happy and welcoming to each other and the families. And Juan and Carla already look really comfortable with each other, like they're in love with each other. They're kissing a lot, they're touching a lot, and they both love to dance. We see them have a discussion about their day-to-day life, and Carla lets him know that she can pretty much pick her work hours as she pleases. And Juan says that his daily itinerary is way more structured because he has those 2 companies and he also has a sales job, all right? During this conversation, we also learn about Juan's app. It's an app for people who are at the airport waiting for their flights, and it's a way for those people to connect and network. I think that's a great idea, but he says that it's just in the beginning stages and it hasn't made any money yet, right? And Carla says that she doesn't care about money. She says that everything for her is about energy and connections. So she actually loves the idea that he created an app to help people do just that. But this part had me cracking up because when we see Carla speak to Juan's family, she tells them that she feels like he can bring some structure to her life because she needs it. And she says that she can help Juan be a little bit more free and help him realize that everything doesn't have to be so by the book. And his friends look a bit concerned. They look a bit concerned when Carla says that she just goes with the flow. She just goes through life without a plan. And they're like, yeah, that's not how Juan is at all. Another thing she says that worries them is that she needs to work on her softness because she says that sometimes she can be very blunt, but it comes from a place of love. Red flag. We already know how that goes. Anytime we see people say that, oh, I'm just upfront, Hannah, yeah. Oh, I'm just direct. We know that that means that they talk to people crazy. All right, so Carla, I got my eye on you. Next we see Madison and Alan. They're getting acquainted, but I did hear Madison say those dreadful words, okay? She says he's definitely not my typical type. We hate to hear that on these shows. It is almost always a horrible horrible omen, okay? And she says that she's used to men who are a bit more groomed up with a more athletic body, but nonetheless, she says that she's excited to be married to Alan, and she can tell that he is ready for marriage. Meanwhile, Alan sees a complete future with Madison, and he sees this as an opportunity to create the family that he's never had. We see Madison get grilled by Alan's family, and they ask her what she wants from this experience, okay? And Madison says that she wants someone who loves her for her because she just knows that she is so gorgeous. She's so gorgeous, and she wants someone who doesn't care about how just drop dead beautiful and gorgeous she is, and she just finally wants to be with someone who wants her for her and not just because she's so beautiful and gorgeous. Okay, then we see Alan get grilled by Madison's family, and he tells them that he got out of a 4-year relationship about 1.5 years ago, and he says that the relationship was toxic. She was tracking the time that he took to drive to the gas station and all this stuff. And I did notice though that when he got asked about this relationship, he got a little choked up. I didn't like that because it's been 1.5 years and the feelings still seem a little fresh. And we're going to see him talk about this relationship later, and he's going to get choked up again. And I'm like, are you truly over this relationship, Alan? It don't seem like it. Next, we see David and Michelle. They're having their first dance, and he's telling her how happy he is that she has blonde hair and blue eyes. Michelle, that don't scare you, Michelle? Not even a little bit, but I guess not, because you got weird requirements too. So y'all a match made in heaven, like I said before. All right. But in her confessional, she does express some concern about his living situation, which is totally understandable. All right. But next we see David meet Michelle's friends, and I like them. I like those girls. Okay. Because they stayed on David's ass with those questions as much as he tried to avoid them. All right. They ask him if he's ready and how he's going to deal with their first fight after all the cameras are gone. David says that he's going to make sure that he's going to listen. He's going to compromise. He's going to be an open book with her. And they tell David all the little sweet things that Michelle expects to be done without her asking. She says she likes flowers. Like Monica from Love is Blind. She wants her flowers, she wants her gifts, and she don't want to have to ask you about it. They say that she has very high standards for herself and for anyone else that she allows in her life. Then we see Michelle meet David's parents, and she tells them that based on her past relationships, her picker might be a little bit off. Maybe that's because you haven't opened up or broadened your horizons, right? And dated people for who they are inside as opposed to what they look like on the... Okay, Michelle. All right, I'm going to let you rock. But she says that she's figured that if she leaves it to the experts of this show, she's going to be in the right hands, okay? So she asked them, why your son still live at home? And I get it. I think that that is a very logical question to ask. And they say it's only temporary and he's fully capable of living on his own. And they've just never pushed it. And I find it interesting how we don't really hear the dad answer this question. It's mostly the mom answering. And it's so funny because I can't take mama's word for it. One, because parents are naturally going to be biased towards their children. But two, moms, when it comes to their sons, okay, are hella biased towards their sons. They coddle them a lot, and David is a mama's boy. So we'll just have to wait and see if mama is telling the truth or if she's just trying to make her son look good to his new wife. And then we see mom also kind of downplay his smoking. And she says that he only smokes socially, even though she is a cancer survivor and a former smoker. And mama tells Michelle that she is going to have to push David to stop smoking. Huh? Why does Michelle have to push David to stop smoking? Mama, if you beating cancer, okay, and being a former smoker is not enough push for him, what the hell you expect Michelle to do? What do you expect Michelle to do? And why are you putting it on someone else to push your son to stop smoking? See, I already see how y'all get down. Y'all be babying that man. Y'all be babying that man. It's not Michelle's responsibility to make him stop smoking. That's on him, mama. Anyway, let's go on. So when Michelle gets back with her friends, she gets really emotional because she says that David is so excited, but she still feels hesitant. And she takes her friends to the bathroom and she tells them that he still lives at home with his parents and she cannot stop fixating on that. And her friends are all shocked. They're like, what? How do you know? And she says that he told her. And they're trying to talk her through this breakdown. And they do help her pull it together because Michelle does not want David and his family to see that she's been crying. But this is clearly something that's going to be a huge issue for them moving forward. So next we see Thomas and Camille, and they both still seem a bit awkward. And during their first dance, it is definitely understandable. But Thomas tells her that she is definitely his type. And of course, she is really happy to hear that. But one thing I noticed in this scene, Camille has a problem making eye contact with him. Maybe it's just nerves. Maybe it's his breath. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. But in Thomas's confessional, he says that he just knows that his dad would be proud. Again, nothing wrong with aspiring to make your late parent proud. But are you doing this to actually be a husband, a partner? Are you ready to commit? Or are you just doing this because it looks good and to no longer be the unmarried twin? So once they sit down, they discuss some of their quirks. And Thomas admits that he is very particular and he likes things done a certain way. That's going to come up later, okay? So they discuss his 9-year relationship that he had previously. And he says, listen to this, he says that the breakup was due to them just growing apart. Do you hear what I said? He says the breakup was due to them just growing apart. And I was like, okay, now this is definitely possible, but there's always more to a breakup than, oh, we just grew apart. Yeah, okay, I can see that, but there's usually a little bit more to it. But he does say that he wasn't ready to be married and his ex was. And that makes Camille a little bit concerned because she's like, well, if you didn't know that you were ready to commit after 9 years, how do I know you're ready to commit now? Yeah. I agree, Camille. And at this point, I was like, I still don't see it for these two. If sparks end up flying, it's going to be a slow burn because at this point, it's just giving polite co-workers. Okay, minus the kissing, minus the wedding, of course. But there's zero chemistry between these two. But baby, next we see Camille sit down with Thomas's family and vice versa. And Thomas drops a bomb. Thomas drops a bomb. So he tells her friends that the reason why his past relationship broke up, the same one that he was just telling Camille about, that they just grew apart, he says that he stepped out of that past relationship and they ask him to clarify and he admits that he cheated. Sir, that is not what you just told Camille 5 minutes ago. What is going on here? What? She just asked you and you said y'all grew apart. Now you in front of her friends and you like, yeah, I cheated. What? And even though he says that he went to therapy for 6 months, all of Camille's friends are still looking at him like, listen, at this point, people are going to have to start requesting invoices for these therapy sessions because the new thing now is for everybody and their mama to be claiming that they went to therapy, okay, and they've been healed. At this point, we're going to have to start requesting proof. So, child, now we see Camille talking with Thomas's friends about what happened in his past relationship, okay? And they stay on bro code. And they say, you know, it was just a tough relationship and he was in too deep and he didn't know how to get out of it. Yeah, but y'all left out that he cheated, though. Y'all left that part out, though, right? But they do tell her that he can be very closed off at times and she's going to have to work on opening him up. But they claim that, oh, he's definitely ready to get married now. This is a prime example of your partner's friends not being your friends, okay? They will always be loyal to that partner every time. Don't get it twisted. It don't matter how long y'all been together, how long y'all known the friends and y'all be at each other's house. They're not your friends. They are not your friends, okay? Because these men are sitting up in Camille's face lying to her. And when Camille gets back with her friends, they tell her about the cheating and that he went to therapy, okay? So it's all right. Maybe he's learned from it. He got healed, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, Camille, you better grill Thomas on why he lied to you. I better see you grilling Thomas and asking him, why did you lie to me when I asked you about your previous breakup? But we don't see that, at least through episodes 1 to 4. And I got a problem with that. Maybe it was cut out, but I hope that Camille ends up having that conversation if she didn't already, because that is crazy to me. So anyways, next we see MM and Echi. We see them sit and they discuss their reasoning for doing this experience. MM says that she's ready to focus more on love as opposed to her career. And Echi tells MM that he's here just to promote his book. I'm playing. I'm playing. He did not say that. I'm playing. He did not say that. But he does tell her that he's been looking for a very particular woman and he's been writing letters to his future wife, which also happens to be a book. Second time that this book has been mentioned. Okay. So MM asks him if she's his type and he says she's definitely beautiful and his type is just a black woman and he loves him some Kelly Rowland. The fact that he didn't specifically name what his type was makes me believe that MM is not his type. That's just the vibe that I got from that. Because I feel like if she was genuinely his type, he would have made specific points that also are attributes that she has. He didn't do that, but we'll see, okay? We see MM meet Echi's friends and they tell her about his ex who he was deeply in love with, but she cheated on him and he was down for some time. So they're really happy to see him open up and take a chance at love again. Child, MM's cousin did not come to play. Shout out to the cousin. He asked Echi about his past relationship and he was like, oh, so you've been single for 12 years? You mean you haven't dealt with anyone? And Echi's like, oh no, yeah, I've dealt with people, but it just never got to that level. And the cousin is like, so what happened with your ex? You just left her high and dry? Child, the cousin had Echi fumbling over his words, okay? But Echi promises the cousin that he will keep her safe and protected. And the cousin is like, look, I see you have a way with words, all right? Everything you're saying sounds good, but I don't know you. Period. Period. Cousin was not sugarcoating anything, okay? He says you could be saying one thing right now and it'd be something completely different. And he definitely made his suspicions known. So now the receptions are over and all of the couples go back to the hotel room. We see Michelle and David. They have a conversation about his living situation. And at this point, I was like, Michelle, just break up with him. Just break up with him, okay? And David reiterates that he is not ashamed to live with his parents because he wants to. It's not that he has to. And now is the time for him to move out and start a new chapter in his life. And although Michelle is smiling while he's talking, she still looks very worried, okay? But it's the end of the day and all of the couples get all cuddled up and they share a couple of kisses and everyone goes to bed. All right, y'all. So now we are on episode 4 and it's time to meet more of the family and for the honeymoon. So you know the drama is about to start because I've heard the honeymoon is when it gets real messy, all right? So it's the morning after everyone's first night together, and we see the couples debrief about the previous night. So first we see Alan and Madison, and Alan is feeling very optimistic, and he says that he's excited to see how him and Madison will get along after all the pomp and circumstance of the wedding and reception. They speak about his past relationship, and he lets her know that he went back to therapy, and that really helped him get through it. But again, this is the second time that they spoke about this relationship, and we can see that the emotions still look a little bit fresh, all right? Next, we see Juan and Carla, and they both seem to have enjoyed their night, and Carla says that she definitely feels the chemistry with Juan. They have breakfast, right? And we see Juan offer her some cream for her coffee, and she says thank you, and she's like, oh, I love when you spoil me. And then she asks him to stir her coffee, okay? And I'm like, girl, don't do too much, okay? Because it does kind of give that she wants Juan to take on kind of like a butler role, take care of me role, and I just like sit with my feet up all day. That's kind of what it was giving in this moment, but we're going to see. We're going to see, all right? But they do have a conversation about juicing. Remember I said money is going to come up in this relationship. Carla buys her drinks, okay? She buys her juices, and Juan says that he makes his at home because he thinks that buying them is way too expensive. Meanwhile, Carla says that money is just energy to her. Money is energy to her, so she has no problem paying for anything. And I feel like this is another glimpse of this couple having a huge difference when it comes to their values about finances, saving, and spending, which is one of the main reasons why people get divorced. Next, we have Camille and Thomas, and they discuss their 10-year age gap. Remember, Thomas is 42 and Camille is 32, okay? But she says that she likes dating older men because she feels like they're a bit more mature and they know what they want. Or maybe he just wants to get married because he is 42 and he knows that society is probably looking at him like, where your wife and your kids at? It could be that too, okay? On the other hand, Thomas is a bit leery about the age gap because he says that he wants to have children sooner rather than later. He just wants to do all of these things that he knows that he's supposed to do by this age, okay? That's what it's giving. Next, we got David and Michelle. We see the two of them discuss their work schedules. Since it seems like David is a busy guy, he says that he'll make some schedule adjustments so that they can spend more time together, all right? Then Michelle asks David how he's been able to live at home with his parents because she says that someone living at home with their parents in their 30s is unattractive to her. And he reiterates again that it's only temporary and it's pretty much like a separate apartment with its own entrance and kitchen and all that. And Michelle is clearly still bothered. She is not satisfied with this answer. Next, we got Echi and M. They both had a good night and they talk about their doubts before the wedding. M says that she was worried that he wouldn't be attracted to her physically, and Echi says that he was also worried about the same thing. So now it's time for everyone to sit down with the families. We see Alan meet Madison's family. Now remember, Madison is very close with her dad because her mom wasn't really in her life after her parents divorced. And dad jumps right to the important stuff. He's like, look, before y'all get intimate, you need to take your ass down to the clinic and get an STD test. I said, period, dad. It's kind of weird, but period. Okay. And Alan says that he actually just got tested 3 weeks ago. And the dad is like, all right, cool. Well, you need to show those results to my daughter, Madison. He is not playing around. Then we see Alan ask the family if he is Madison's usual type. I can't remember who this woman is. I don't know if it was her friend, her sister, her cousin, but baby girl said no. Flat out. She didn't even try to ease into it. She was like, no, Madison is into pretty boys and you are the exact opposite of that. I said, damn, girl. Damn, you couldn't have said that in a nicer way. Shit. I feel like that was pretty rude, and you could see it all over Alan's face that he was pretty hurt by it. So next we see Madison meet Alan's family, and they want to make sure that she is sure about this entire experience and this just isn't some adventure for her. And she reassures them that she is 1000% in this for the right reasons. I mean, of course, what else is she gonna say, right? But Alan's mom gets very emotional, and she tells Madison that she just wants her son to be loved, okay? She just wants her son to be loved, and she doesn't want anyone to get hurt. And Alan's family is very supportive of the union, but Madison, she keeps it real with them, and she lets them know, look, she's very optimistic, but it's only been one day, and they still have so much to learn about each other before knowing if this is something that can truly last. And she's right. She's right about that. And it doesn't help that she isn't physically attracted to her husband, okay? That don't help. So later we see Alan and Madison meet up, and they have a cute little chuckle about the conversation that Alan had with Madison's dad about the STD testing. But Madison wants to make it clear to Alan that they still have a lot to learn about each other, and some things might come up that they might not like about each other. And Alan agrees with that sentiment, okay? Then we see him ask her about her feelings regarding his physical appearance. And baby, my heart low-key broke for Alan in this scene, because we can see it was a bit difficult for him to even ask this question because he already knows the answer, right? He just wants to hear it from her. And who wants to feel that their partner is not physically attracted to them, right? But Madison does confirm that he is not her typical type, but she doesn't think that it's a bad thing. Not that reassuring of an answer, okay? She does say that although he's not the metro, gym bod, pretty boy that she's usually attracted to, she's still attracted to him. Madison, I don't believe you. I'm not buying it, but we'll see. Next, we got Echi and MM. They meet each other's family and friends. Echi tells MM's friends that in his past relationship, which ended 12 years ago, he wasn't ready for the relationship, and he ended up hurting his partner and sabotaging the relationship. So they ask him what he's learned about himself, and he says that he listens more now, and he can pretty much spot the red flags in people earlier. Yeah, okay, but what have you learned about you to be better and make sure that you don't hurt your next partner the way that you hurt your last partner? We're not looking to see how you can now spot a red flag when you were the red flag in your past relationship. Are you okay? I didn't like that answer at all. But then they ask him about trying to get on this show twice. They want to know, do you really want to be married, or is this just an opportunity for you? And what else is he going to say other than he really wants to be here and he embraced this opportunity to be open and vulnerable and find his true love and trust the experts and blah, 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 blah. Okay? Meanwhile, we see Echi's family telling MM that he's a writer and he's real popular on social media and the ladies love him pretty much. So they ask MM how she's going to be able to handle that and feel secure. And MM says, he's going to have to make sure that I feel secure. And she's right. That is his job, to keep those women in their place and to protect his marriage. That's not on MM. That's not on MM. Okay. They let MM know that they feel like the reason why Echi is still single is because he is looking for perfection. And they have tried to explain to him that perfection does not exist. Keep that in mind, okay? Later, we see Echi and MM. They meet up, and she asks him to describe this perfect unicorn of a woman. And you can see that she's a bit skeptic about this because she knows that she's not perfect. None of us are. So she wants to know what his idea of perfection is. Another opportunity for Echi to be specific and say what he likes. And the fact that, again, he cannot describe his idea of perfection or his type leads me to believe that MM is not that type. And that's why he's not giving any details and he's keeping it vague. Oh, just a black woman. Okay. But he does say that he's just looking for someone who can balance with him. And he says that his family exaggerated a bit and he is not looking for perfection, and he can see success and intrinsic value in MM. Next, we see Michelle and David. They meet each other's family and friends. David's mom has a whole notepad of questions because she doesn't want to forget anything, okay? Michelle asks them about David's living situation and the smoking. And of course, mama swoops right in like she did before. And she gives her reasoning. And she says that he doesn't really live with us. It's his own apartment. And he is more than ready to live on his own. His cousin senses the doubt in Michelle. And she asks Michelle, like, are you 100% into this? Because I know that David is. And Michelle tells her that this experience is a bit overwhelming since it's only been, one day, right? And honestly, if David felt the same way at this point, I would totally understand, okay? But she does reassure them that her intentions are pure and she is 100% in this for the right reasons. What else is she gonna say? We see David meet Michelle's mother and sisters, and they tell him how independent she is. And he lets them know that although he is living at home, he says he pays rent. He says he pays bills. He says that he pays his student loans. And I'm like, Okay, well, that's good. Okay, that's better. So he's not just at home eating all his mama food, not taking care of anything. He actually is still taking care of his responsibilities and he is contributing to the household. That makes a difference, okay? But Michelle's family is still a bit apprehensive about him living at home. And they do tell David that he should take baby steps when coming to telling Michelle information so that she doesn't get overwhelmed. And he's like, yeah, so basically I need to slow down and shut the fuck up. And my jaw dropped. My jaw dropped. Now listen, I curse a lot. Y'all don't hear me curse on here, but baby, I be cussing. I be cussing. But one thing I will never understand is people cursing in front of their significant others, parents, and family, especially when they meet for the first time. It makes me cringe. I don't get it, and it blows my mind every single time. I just think that it's rude for a first meeting. Maybe if after y'all get to know each other and y'all it's just a cussing family and y'all be cussing, that's one thing. But the first meeting blows my mind. I'll never understand it. Anyway, later we see David and Michelle, and they discuss Michelle feeling overwhelmed, and David tells her that he'll take the relationship at a slower pace, and she reveals to him that she cried during the wedding. Remember when she went in the bathroom with her friends and she cried? She finally tells him that that's what happened, and this makes David a bit nervous for the upcoming honeymoons. And then he reveals that he actually is a bit embarrassed to reveal that he still lives at home. Now remember, before David said that he wasn't embarrassed because he don't got to live there. He just does it because he wants to. But now he admits that it is a bit embarrassing. All right. And Michelle lets him know again that she is very worried and she's still hung up on the fact that he lives at home. But he tells her that he doesn't plan on staying there. I don't know how many times these two are going to have this conversation. It's episode 4. Baby, either get with it or get lost, okay? Because at some point, I think David is going to get irritated. Like, girl, I still live at home. You want to be with me or not? And in this conversation, David says that he doesn't want his living situation to be a major thing. And Michelle is like, well, it is a major thing. She says it is the thing. Actually, it is the biggest thing, right? So next we see Juan and Carla. They meet each other's families and they all had a great vibe since the wedding, all right? We see Juan's dad get right into it. These dads ain't playing this season, okay? And he asks Carla how she makes her money. And she tells him that she's a hairstylist, she's a Pilates instructor, and she's a sound healer with her own business. And she says that her and Juan bond over the fact that they're both building businesses, but she says that she would like to be able to stay at home when it's time to raise her children. Meanwhile, we see Carla's friend asking Juan what he expects of Carla financially in the marriage. And Juan says that for now, he needs her to work. He needs her to work because he has a startup and he doesn't need her money right now, but he does need her to contribute. So they ask him, what about after your app takes off and it becomes lucrative, you start making money and all that? Would you like her to stay at home? And he's like, it depends. Listen, Carla, baby, if you're looking to be a stay-at-home mom who doesn't have to work, Juan is not your man. Juan is not your man. He said even after the app takes off, you still need to take your ass to work, okay? Which you should do anyway. I don't think any woman should depend on a man for her livelihood. I don't think any woman should depend on a man to keep food in her fridge and a roof over her head at all. So you should want to work and make your own money no matter what his app does, okay? But like I said before, you can see that these two view money very differently. And we can also see in this conversation that Juan is not looking to be the sole provider within this relationship, within any relationship. He doesn't care if he's a multimillionaire. Take your ass to work. And then we see where Juan gets this mentality from, okay? Because we see Juan's dad tell Carla that he believes that everything should be split 50-50. 50-50. And you can see it all over Carla's face. She don't like that. She does not like that idea. And like I said before, finances will be a huge point of contention in this relationship, in this marriage, if these two stay together. Next, we see Camille and Thomas. They meet each other's loved ones, and we see Camille's family tell him that she has a tendency to shut down when she gets upset. And I said, uh-oh, because Thomas's family said the same thing about him. And Thomas says that this is going to be a struggle for the both of them because he also tends to shut down and avoid conflict, which ends up building resentment. But he says that over the past 4 years, he's put in the time on his personal development. So he says that he's ready to be a husband and he's been working on being more vulnerable and being a better communicator. Okay, we'll see. Camille's dad says that he likes Thomas so far, but he's going to be watching him and trust needs to be earned, okay? We see Camille tell Thomas's family that although they have differences, she's excited to get to know him and to bring out his fun side. His twin tells Camille that Tom likes to joke, but he doesn't like harsh criticism, and that will cause him to pull away, okay? So the perfectionist does not like harsh criticism. I feel like that's going to come up later. But they do say that he's a great listener, and they believe that him and Camille will be able to work together on their issues, okay? Camille tells them that her timeline to have children is in the next 2 years, and that makes the whole family excited, especially Tom's mom. And I'm like, that's cute and all, but girl, if she don't get pregnant in 2 years, are you going to be one of those mother-in-laws or family members that hound her?
When you going to have a baby? When you going to have a baby? When you going to have a baby?
I hope not. Don't be that. But Tom's family gives Camille their blessing, and they seem to be very happy about the union. All right, so now it's time for the honeymoons, and the couples are heading to Mexico. And of course, they are extremely excited. I'm excited, okay? Some of them are packing condoms. Some of them are bringing lingerie, so we'll see what happens. So they're all getting on the shuttle to the airport, and this is the first time that all of the couples are meeting each other. And I had my eye on David as soon as Madison hopped her ass on the bus because he's a sucker for what? A white woman with some blonde hair. Now, I don't know what color her eyes are. I haven't really looked. But Michelle, watch out, okay? And Michelle actually says in her confessional that she's a bit shocked to see all of the other couples all comfortable and hugged up, because she says that at this point, she's still trying to process that she just got married 2 days ago, all right? And I'm like, Michelle, you don't like that man. You don't. And it's okay. I understand. And Madison, she don't like her man either. So I'm going to have to keep my eye on the both of them with this whole scandal that's supposed to come later this season, okay? The couples arrive and they're all talking about what they love about each other. And we do see Thomas open up about his feelings toward Camille. And although I have my doubts about him still, it was very sweet to hear him say that he loves their chemistry and she's already made him feel safe. She still can't look him in the eye for too long though. So Camille, I'm gonna need more confessionals to see how she feels about Thomas, okay? So Echi says that he loves everything about MM. We see Madison tell everyone that she's very anxious about this experience. And hearing this makes Alan a bit nervous because he says that he didn't even know that she was feeling this way, or at least to this extent, okay? This is the first time that he's hearing this in front of everyone else. And after Madison admits that, Michelle admits that she's been having a hard time adjusting as well, which we already know. And while everyone is going around stating their concerns, they keep going back to MM and Echi, who are all hugged up, and everyone thinks that they're the perfect couple and they're so in love. But honestly, I don't know, y'all. It gets performative. I feel like Echi and MM knows what a happy couple looks like, so that's what they're doing. The happiness might be genuine on MM's side, but I don't think that it's genuine on Echi's side. And we see Juan low-key pick up on this because he says that him and Carla, they're just going to take things one day at a time. And he says just because MM and Echi are hugged up like this now, that don't mean that by next week things won't be different. And he's like, I'm not wishing bad on your relationship. He just stated facts, okay? Because we already know that once that money comes up a little bit more in you and Carla's relationship, oh shit, really gonna hit the fan. So it's day 3 of marriage, and we finally see Thomas and Camille getting a little bit closer. Still not all the way, but definitely a bit more intimate. Juan is jumping up and down on the bed at 7 o'clock in the morning, playing some cowboy song, and Carla is smiling, but you can see it all over her face. She's a bit irritated. Okay? We see David's alarm went off at 4 o'clock in the morning, and Michelle is like, yeah, you're gonna have to get that together because those alarms woke her up. But those are his alarms that he uses to wake up and make it to the gym every day. But he did sleep on the couch last night, and that's concerning to Michelle because she says that at this point they should both want to sleep in the same bed together. But Michelle, you're not really feeling him either, so don't put it all on David. You are not feeling this man, okay? And then she brings up the living situation again, and she's like, who would choose to live with their parents at 36 years old? Because your mommy doing everything for you is such a turnoff to me. It's a turnoff. And she says that even though he says that he doesn't need to live at home, she is not getting independent vibes from him. And he tells her that he is independent and he's lived on his own before and he's lived with another woman before. But Michelle says that it doesn't make sense to her because she'd never ever choose to live with her parents at this age. In David's confessional, he's confused because he says that he thought that they've moved past this situation, but clearly not. And I'm like, y'all not gonna move past this situation until she sees you move out of your parents' home. That's the only way at this point, if y'all even make it that far. Next, we see MM and Echi. They're having a little poolside lunch, and they discuss both of their previous engagements. MM says that there was infidelity and forgiveness in her previous relationship, and then a reconciliation, but at the end of it, it just didn't work. Now, did he cheat or did you cheat? Okay, I don't want to assume that he's the one that cheated. It could have been you. It could have been you. Echi discusses his past engagement, and he says that there was infidelity on his part, and he says that he never, ever, ever wants to do that to anyone ever again. And MM says that she does believe that people can grow and change, and she says that she is sure that he isn't the same person that he was 13 years ago when he cheated on his ex. Okay, girl. Next, we see Madison and Alan go on a little date, and she apologizes to him for being weird due to her anxiety, and Alan wants to know if he did something to trigger that anxiety, and she says no, it wasn't anything that he did. It's just that everything was hitting her at the same time, but she says that she does want to be with him, she does want to grow with him and have exciting times with him. And Alan just wants to make sure that he doesn't do anything to increase that anxiety, and he does say that because of that, he's been afraid to touch her or even hold her hand. And Madison reassures him, and she says that she doesn't want him to feel like he has to walk on eggshells around her, and she still wants to feel a connection to him. Even though she's working through some things and it's a lot, she appreciates him communicating with her and being supportive of her through this experience. But that's where episode 4 ends. Listen, at this point, based on what I've seen so far, my expectations and my hopes for all of these couples, in hell, I have no hope for any of these couples. None of these couples seem promising to me. I can definitely see why we're gonna have a huge scandal, okay? And at this point, it could be anybody. It can be anybody because none of these couples really seem like they are truly in love. But tell me, what are your predictions? Please no spoilers, because I did hear that the couple involved in the scandal has been revealed. I haven't seen it yet. Please respect that and do not put it in the comments. But let me know any other predictions that you might have. How you feeling about the couple so far? Do you have a favorite? Do you have a least favorite? We'll talk all about it. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And make sure you hit that notification bell. And I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye!